Thank you, Dan, and a very good evening to you. Well, we may only be a fortnight into the season, but this already has the feel of something very significant. Even in the middle of an August heatwave, it's easy to imagine the destiny of the points tonight could be very important in May. Watford and Burnley lead the bookies betting for the championship title. Both have taken 4 points from a pair of games that look tricky on paper, yet both, for different reasons, will feel that they might be 2 from 2. They've hit the ground running in similar circumstances. Crucial after relegation, a change at the helm, and a summer which has seen more than 60 players depart between them. The pressure of an immediate return doesn't appear to weigh too heavily just yet, but Burnley might feel that they're slightly further along the curve than Watford. This is how they line up tonight. Watford backman in goal. We are expecting a back four. Gaspar, Sierralta, Cathcart and Kamara. Cleverly, Kayembe and Chowdhury making his debut in the midfield. And then Sarge, Pedro and Sema, the front three. And Ngakia, Kabasele, Gosling, Asprilla, Manai, Bayo and Hamer on the bench. As far as Burnley are concerned, Murich in goal. Roberts, Harwood Bellis, Taylor and Matson. Brownhill, Cullen and Bastian. Benson, who makes his first start for Burnley. Barnes and Costello, the forward three. And their bench, Egan Riley, McNally, Cork and Coutinho, Teller, Rodriguez and Peacock Farrell. And the referee tonight is Thomas Bramall, who's just been promoted to the top tier of referees for the new season. The two teams switching around. Burnley will be kicking from left to right in this first half in their traditional claret and blue and white shorts. Watford yellow shirts and black shorts away to our right-hand side. Final thoughts, David Connolly, what are you expecting tonight?
Well, I'm expecting a really good game. It's going to be an open one. Interestingly, the new additions for Watford added bid in. Hamza Chowdhury, a player I think they really need in the middle of the park. Is it a change of shape? We'll pretty quickly see, which will be an upturn. And I think Burnley, you can really see the philosophy of Vincent Kompany so far in the game, just in dominating the ball. Really good team, impressive so far. But I think this is going to be it's got a hallmarking of a very open game, and something we might be a little bit different here.
Well, it does look as though it's going to be a back four as far as Watford are concerned. Kamara, who started the season as a right wing back, are very definitely playing at left back. And the players of Watford take the knee ahead of kick-off. And a couple of their Burnley counterparts do as well. Others applaud. Well, when they last met here in April, it was an episode in a relegation scrap that both ultimately lost. Now, Watford and Burnley are cast in very different roles. Sometimes they come early in a campaign, sometimes they come late. This time, it's just the third game out of 46, which produces what is set to be a very significant piece in the overall jigsaw. We're underway. Burnley kicking from left to right. Both of these sides with identical records, 4 points from their 2 games, scoring 2 and conceding 1. Here's Roberts in possession, the Welsh international for Burnley, laying it down towards Benson on the right-hand side, who really caught the eye. Mickey Gray was at Turf Moor at the weekend, was raving about his performance, and no surprise to see him in the starting lineup tonight. Cathcart comes across the clear-up. Kamara is just beaten to it by Benson. Good quick feet from him, but Kamara slides in, knocks it away, and he goes out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the Burnley right-hand side. You're with TalkSport 2, and you're also with David Connolly.
Yeah, just looking at it, it certainly looks like that change of shape, which has been much talked about. Whenever Burnley are in possession, it's either going to be Cleverly just trying to latch onto him, or Hamza Chowdhury stopping the likes of Josh Cullen playing. But yeah, changing shape for Watford, which is big news. And I went down to the media room, listening to the local radio people and around the club. That was certainly something they felt was needed after the West Brom game. A little bit predictable they were in that game. Yeah,
just to reiterate, it's the first time in Rob Edwards' managerial career that he's ever started a league game with a back four. The only other time he's done it was an FA Cup tie in charge of Forest Green against St Albans last season. But a back four from the start tonight. Throw taken by Roberts. Remember, it's highly likely possession's going to be about 70-30 to Burnley tonight, notwithstanding the fact that they're the away team. Watford struggling to get any kind of possession really in their match at the Hawthorns on Monday, where they, despite missing a penalty, were probably lucky to get a point. I'm not sure that Sarr will be on penalty-taking duties if they get one tonight. Free kick has gone Burnley's way here. Fouled by Ken Sema. Conor Roberts is standing over this free kick right in front of the Watford technical area, where Rob Edwards stands. Called for passion and energy, commitment and bravery. His blueprint for Watford's success this season. He also talked about needing more rhythm and needing better, more substantial possession after that West Bromwich Albion game. They've got a free kick now, which will be taken about 10 yards inside the Burnley half. Watford kicking from right to left in yellow shirts with black shorts, and it's Kayembe that will stand over this. Just lets the ball drop and still moving as he takes it. Knocks it back to Cathcart. Cathcart to Hassan Kamara. Hamza Chowdhury involved in the action. Just caught in possession by Bastian coming in from behind him. But Bastian's touch just rolled over the line and goes out of play. Play will restart actually with a free kick. It was a foul on Hamza Chowdhury. And weird to see him in colours other than those of Leicester. He didn't have a loan spell at Burton earlier in his career, but dropping down into the Championship for a season, a bid for more regular first team football. Hamza Chowdhury made the move south yesterday. Burnley in possession with Roberts. Roberts fall down towards Benson, and Benson caught again by Hassan Kamara, and that's twice already. And Vincent Kompany not happy. He's just making that point. And he's being calmed down by fourth official Lee Doughty. Benson, meanwhile, lies face down on the turf.
Craig Bellamy there, just having a word with the referee, getting involved. Vincent Kompany immediately raises his hand up to indicate a card. He feels that should be a booking. That's a couple of times now that Bastian's been caught from behind, receiving the ball to feet, and we'll have to wait and see. The referee's having a little bit of a talking to. Is he going to pull a card out, or he might just get away with this one? If he does, I'm sure he's saying you're going in the book next time. Yeah, it's early on, putting up my watch, look, early doors, but nonetheless, I mean, I think you can see that they see him as a threat, trying to stop, Burnley at source, getting the ball into feet, but he's a lucky boy not to be booked for that.
Yeah, he cost £3 million, Manuel Benson, a 25-year-old winger who made his debut as a half-time substitute on Saturday and played the best part of 200 games in Belgium. And one of the signings that has been made, there have been plenty of them, but the sale of Nathan Collins to Wolves alone has paid for the acquisition of 9 players, and they've also signed another 3 on loan, including Nathan Teller this week, who's on the bench for Burnley tonight. It's a very good squad that has been assembled. Roberts will take this free kick. Benson's received his treatment and he's going to be allowed back on in a moment. Roberts swinging it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Barnes a formidable target, but nobody close enough to him in support. So his looping header, instead of finding a teammate's just gone over the line and out of play for a goal kick that Daniel Backman will take. 5 minutes gone on Vicarage Road here on TalkSport 2. Watford 0, Burnley 0.
Yeah, just seeing if they're going to try and play out who Ashley Barnes right on the edge of the box, saying, go on then, you give it to one of those centre halves and I'm just going to go immediately in pressure. What does Backman do? Hits it right to side, not a bad ball to hit, but then he's got to get hold of it. I don't know why he tried to flick that round the corner first time. That's where he's really got to be screamed at by his teammates. We haven't had the ball in a while. If we are going to go long up to you, take it down and draw a foul like Bastian did for Burnley.
Yeah, Sarr took a touch and he just flicked it around the corner to Charlie Taylor, who these days is playing at centre half rather than the left back role with which we're more familiar with him playing. Ball's gone out of play off the head of Costello for a throw that Watford will take over on the far touchline. I don't think they've had a meaningful touch of the ball in Burnley territory so far, and not a huge amount of surprise that is the case. Watford with this throw midway inside their own half over on the far touchline. It's going to be Mario Gaspar who will take it. A vastly experienced player that they signed from Villarreal. Only 2 players in Villarreal's history have made more appearances than his 424. Burnley very quickly have it back, and it's Muric, player known to Vincent Kompany from his Manchester City days. Play that towards the left-hand side. Maatson sold Taylor short there as a hospital pass. Sarr's eyes lit up and he drew the foul, and this is a free kick in a really good position. It's about 5 yards outside the penalty area, similar distance in from the right hand touchline. Good set piece opportunity for Watford to get the centre halves forward.
Absolutely, any sort of square slow pass, as it was there, Sarr seized upon it. He is quick. One thing, that front part of the pitch is quick. We saw that against Sheffield United, and it's in a good area. Obviously he got the height as well of the centre halves going up for this, and you say Burnley aren't as big as they used to be, that's for sure.
Well, no Tarkowski, no Bernley at the back these days. Harwood and Bellis and Taylor, the two centre halves. So in comes this free kick from birthday boy Tom Cleverley. Barnes is there to head it away. Chowdhury off balance, can control it, gets himself into a shooting position. Might have been going wide, it was blocked anyway by Roberts. And the counter-attack is on with Benson bringing it forward. He just lost possession, he tried to flick it to his left-hand side and cut between Mario Gaspar and Chowdhury. That time he wasn't fouled. It was an angry reaction from him, but no free kick was given. Watford won it back, but gave it away just as quickly. And Dara Costello, the young Irishman, has it on the Burnley left. Exchanging passes with Matson, who's had a very impressive start to his Burnley career on loan from Chelsea. Now down towards Roberts. Roberts turning it round the corner towards Cullen. Cullen trying to invite Benson forward. Kamara's first touch not great, his second was a really good salvage act as the first one had gone up in the air, but he was able to flick it forward. Nelson strongly driving it into Bastion, and it goes out of play for a Watford throw. 8 minutes gone, Watford 0, Burnley 0. Plenty of Burnley possession, but neither goalkeepers had a sight of the ball so far. No,
one thing for sure, I mean, look, they've got a lot of pace out wide, brilliant in possession, Burnley at the minute. I mean, Ashley Barnes is not going to run away from you. He'll want that ball in the box. He's only had one delivery so far, isn't he? And it wasn't of great quality, overhit. You'd like to see him, as well as they go side to side, also try and hurt Watford down through the middle of the pitch at times. A lot of it square, shuttling across, but maybe try and get it into the front a little bit as well into Barnes.
Here's Cullen, the Irishman in the heart of the Burnley midfield. Back for Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who's on loan from Manchester City for the season. Now down to Roberts. Forward from Roberts. Brownhill, the Burnley captain, with a loose touch which gave it away to Chowdhury. Cleverley has it now. Cleverley to Chowdhury, who's just given a shove off the ball there by Cullen. The referee acknowledging that. Watford still had possession and play on is the call. Chowdhury then loses it and Barnes is able to pick it up in the midfield. Good play by Bastion. Costello comes in off the left flank, but Chowdhury mops up and Cathcart can get it back to his goalkeeper Backman.
I tell you what, it's really keenly contested, isn't it, in the middle of the park? There's 6 players in there and they're almost sort of marked up man for man, really, and any little miscontrol, mispass, as there was there, ball just bobbled off Chowdhury, then they're onto it, Burnley, and yeah, it's a real engine room for both teams. There can be a lot of battles in the middle of the pitch tonight.
Work night for Vincent Kompany, and he's dressed accordingly as well. He must be hot down there in a dark blue jacket, black trousers, and the white trainers, which are de rigueur, so the kids tell me these days.
Or the black ones with the white. At least he's dressed for work, right? He's not in a pair of shorts.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you something. If you come to work in a pair of shorts, you deserve to lose your job. Unless you've got legs as good as mine. Charlie Taylor, laying it back to his left-hand side. Needs must, DC. You're a better man than me. It's a terrible clearance from Muric, and an opportunity on the edge of the penalty area falls Sarr's way. Cullen has done brilliantly for Burnley there, effecting the block, and Muric is hugely relieved. It has been one of the hallmarks of Burnley's season so far that while they like to play out from the back, Muric doesn't look comfortable at times doing it.
No, he doesn't, and that is something obviously you've got to work out whether that is the one to go and press, and Watford have done that really well so far. Only been a couple of times, but that is all you need. A couple of times and one of them might come off. There's another one.
That was Brownhill who played it into the midfield there for Roberts, and that was a foul on Chowdhury and nothing was given. Kayambi picking it up in the midfield for Watford. Forward into the feet of Sarr. Sarr good on the half turn. Joao Pedro tries to take it on. Brownhill stopped that happening, and Burnley will be able to try and stretch Watford and bring it forward quickly, with Bastion laying it out to the left for Costello. Too much on that for Barnes, and he drifts harmlessly wide. Now to play for a goal kick that Backman will take. I think everybody in the ground was expecting the referee to pull that up for the foul on Chowdhury, but nothing did.
It should have been absolutely. It was a clear foul, and it's another coming together in the middle of the park, and I think the referee got that one wrong. Just coming back to Barnes, Watford are there trying to play out in their own 6-yard box, but he needs better service. Costello there trying to pick him out in the box again. It's over here. If you're asking, your team to dominate possession, but when it comes to the sort of final pass in the box and it's poor like that, you're going to struggle to score goals.
I mean, that is the worry for Burnley at the moment this season. Not the worry tonight, but the worry this season. as they had possession again on the right-hand side. I mean, they were sensational against Huddersfield, the opening game of the season, particularly in the first half. They were just magnificent, yet scored the one goal from Maatsen, and that was it. And then 71% possession against Luton at the weekend, one shot on target, which was the goal. So it's an area where clearly they do need to improve and get the productivity to match everything else which is going fine at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just looking at how they move the ball, Burnley, and the players, they manipulate it really quickly. You know, they get turned, they face forward. You know, it's going to be a tough game for Watford out of possession. Certainly going to expend a lot of energy tonight.
Here's the blonde-haired Taylor. Played forward to Maatsen and straight back again. So he's got all the time in the world to bring the ball under control and work out what he's going to do with it. Finds Harwood Bellis. Harwood Bellis goes back to the left-hand side. It is a back four for Burnley, but when they're in possession, they will go lopsided and shift Maatsen forward, and Roberts just drops in almost in a third centre-half position. Barnes trying to flick it over the top. The offside flag actually up as Costello played him in. It was well-intentioned from Barnes, flicking it up almost Gazaresque. Got the better of Colin Hendry, but couldn't get the finish in. The flag was up anyway. We're 13 minutes in, and it's 0-0. Game Day Live tomorrow on TalkSport sees Aston Villa against Everton. Gerrard against Lampard. The build-up begins at 11 o'clock, and Nigel Adderley and the former England winger Trevor Sinclair are in Birmingham for that tomorrow. Build-up at 11 with Reshman Chowdhury, 12:30 kickoff. Also at 12:30, here on TalkSport 2, it's Cardiff against Birmingham. More live football to come for you over the course of the weekend. And a reminder, the classified check from 5 o'clock. All the results at 5 o'clock. Appointment to listen only on TalkSport tomorrow. Bastion. Switch of play. Too much on that. Just a lack of care in possession so far at times for Burnley, with Bastion getting himself into a good position, but his curving ball just ran away from Benson and goes out of play for a goal kick. Yeah, just looking at, we touch on the shape, Chowdhury's up against Brownhill, Kayembe's then up against Bastion, and Cleverley's up against Cullen. And it's almost like 4-3-3 for both teams, but it's inverted for Watford with the two holders and Cleverley ahead of them when they don't have the ball, just so they match up that Burnley midfield man for man, who have one sitter and two attackers. Roberts puts his foot in to try and dispossess Joao Pedro, and he's managed that. Cullen can flick it forward down the right-hand touchline, but to no one in particular. And Craig Cathcart is there first for Watford. He's just rolled away from Kayembe, though. He's had his pocket picked by Brownhill. Not a costly error, because the ball forward to Costello was cut out. But Maatsen still has it for Burnley. There have been a number of tired-looking passes, really.
Yeah. Isn't there, Jim? A lot of early miscontrols of the ball, which is, as I said, Burnley going to dominate, and they're going to force the turnovers. Look, there's another lazy, sloppy foul. No need to make a push there from Sema. Brownhill was not really going anywhere.
But Brownhill will get back to his feet and stand over this free kick, which is level with the right-hand edge of the box. And it's 12 yards from the edge of the Watford penalty area. They've got everybody back behind the ball. Brownhill and Benson, the two players that stand over him. And Burnley have got 5 in and around the edge of the penalty area. Maatsen, that little bit deeper, is unmarked about 6 yards outside the box. And Cullen comes forward to add to the numbers now. Left arm above his head, Brownhill knocks it short instead, down towards Benson, right-hand side of the penalty area. Benson drops his shoulder, taking on Senna, gets it across, good delivery, good defensive header from Kayembe, awkward control from Maatsen, but he's poked it forward well for Costello, who stayed onside. Maatsen has it again now, getting towards the byline, and he wins the first corner of the night.
Yeah, it's really good. A little bit of deception there from Brownhill. One arm up, looked like he was going to deliver the ball in the box. They made the runs, everyone in the area dragged Watford right on top of their goalkeeper from being on the edge of the area. Eventually they get the ball into a dangerous place, and they've won another sort of corner here, set piece. Watford try something different, haven't they? They've kept 2 up here, which they didn't do against Sheffield United. Remember against Sheffield United, they had everybody back. Slight change here with the 2 up, keeping Sarr and
Camera.
Yeah,
they're the two that have stayed forward, and Burnley have kept 2 back against them. Everybody else forward. The corner's been worked short. Now it comes in. Costello let it run. Cathcart couldn't afford to and got it away before it fell for Taylor. Brought down in the midfield by Bastion, and then cleverly flicked round the corner by Harwood Bellis. Back for Charlie Taylor. The centre-half still forward. Poor delivery from him. Poor clearance from Cleverley. Bobbles high up in the air. Chowdhury knocks it away on the half volley. But the offside flag is up anyway. And it's a free kick which will be taken by Watford on the edge of their penalty area. We're 17 minutes in Hertfordshire on TalkSport 2 tonight. Watford 0, Burnley 0 in a match in which the winners go top.
Yeah, that was a slight sort of quirk in terms of how they've done things there, isn't it, Watford? If you go back to the Sheffield United game, they actually scored from bringing all 11 players back, remember, into their box, and the referee got in the way, and I think it was Ollie Norwood miscued it or whatever, and then they broke. That time they kept 2 up, thinking Burnley, normally you do a +1, you keep 3 back, but Burnley went, no, we'll go 2 for 2. We'll go 2 for 2, take it short and work the angle, and that was brave from them.
Long clearance comes from Backman, and he's headed back by the Burnley back line. Matson, and then Brownhill for Costello, but Mario Gaspar over on the far touchline can use his experience to win a throw. You remember the game here at the end of last season, Burnley winning it 2-1. They trailed for 75 minutes, but came back with 2 goals in the last 7 minutes. Jack Cork and Josh Brownhill. Ultimately, it was a result of little consequence because both of them went down, but Burnley did end up finishing 12 points above Watford in that Premier League relegation battle last season. That
was a nice bit of play there from Watford, worked it back to the goal. He came out the other side, and nice bit of patient play.
Serralta with the top knot, playing it out to the Watford right-hand side for Mario Gaspar. Gaspar, with ease, just brings it under control and almost languidly, but with an economy of effort, but does very well to turn it forward away from Costello. Loose ball won in the midfield by Joao Pedro, winning the aerial battle, but it's ricocheted off Sarr and comes down for Matson. Matson will turn back into his own half to feed Cullen in the yellow boots. And the Irishman plays it forward for Bastien, and now to Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Very tall, upright stance with shaven head. Looks like Darren Pearce for older one. Darren would take that, by the way, I'm sure. The ball is on the right-hand side with Benson. Benson for Roberts and forward towards Bastien.
Well, he certainly, Vincent used his connections there, hasn't he? Because if you look at Harwood-Bellis last season, I think Stoke would love to have had him, but you just knew if Vincent got the role at Burnley, with his connections, Harwood-Bellis was always on the way here.
Yeah, he played for Anderlecht under company as well, so he knew exactly what he was getting first-hand from a managerial point of view, as well as the two of them having trained extensively together in company's playing days for Manchester City. Won all 7 matches, incidentally, as a player against Watford Vincent Kompany, including the 6-0 FA Cup final win in 2019. And his side have dominated possession, but haven't remotely come close to working Daniel Backman tonight. So pretty much their season in microcosm so far. We're 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it's a lot of good work, though. Yeah, it's a lot of good work. You could kind of, not so many similarities, but I guess, Vincent Kompany, Man City, there's been images online of his training pitch cut up with the little white lines in different areas, the inside half spaces and dominating possession, all that sort of stuff. Man City had to labour for a little while against West Ham, right? And if you're going to play this way, you labour for a long time in trying to work the right opening, which, obviously they don't possess the same players as Man City, but the principles will remain the same.
Harwood-Bellis drives a free kick forward straight out of play for a throw which will be taken by Watford in the right back position, but down by the corner flag, and they're going to be able to hem them in.
It's amazing when you do all this little possession play, but every longer pass has gone out of play.
Yeah.
It's almost like they do possession death by 1,000 passes, short passes, but a longer pass with quality is also really needed, and every time they've gone with a longer 30, 40 yard pass, it's always gone off the pitch.
It is 70-30, the possession at the moment.
That was a good guess from you early doors. I mean, that's educated guess. You've seen this a few times, Jim.
We'll see how it ends up, but it is 2 shots to Watford and 1 to Burnley. It's come off Harwood-Bellis out of play for a Watford throw as they try to break quickly down the left with Ken Sema.
Well, you just saw Rob Edwards just motioning with his arms, okay, ball's gone out, let's go. We've got the ball back now, let's get the tempo up, we've got it. And he had to quickly get the ball to his, wide man, get it into his hands and get the ball on the pitch.
Serralta, cleverly, back for Kayembe. Kayembe under pressure from Brownhill. Goes back inside his own penalty area for Craig Cathcart. Cathcart, who's just one game short of 400 in his senior club career now, down for Hassan Kamara. Will have to be back on the left-hand side, no doubt, his favoured side. Here's Kayembe. Kayembe out towards the Watford right-hand side for Mario Gaspar.
You could just hear a few murmurings there, Jim, in terms of, even the fans wanted Kayembe to go into the front to João Pedro, and he didn't. He went wide again. And they sort of showed an awful lot the front. Well, he's going to get it now, maybe not.
Kamara looked for him, took a deflection on its way through, and Harwood Bellis was able to bring it under control, and then Roberts, under pressure, has lost it. Chowdhury playing it in behind everybody towards the edge of the area, but cleverly's there now. Set up João Pedro. Can he get a shot in on the turn? He can't. It was flicked away from him by Cullen, who's had a good start. Hamza Chowdhury in the midfield for Watford. Further to the left-hand touchline. It's all very congested on this near side. Sema trying to bulldoze his way through, but he didn't quite have the twinkle in the feet to make it. Cathcart back for Kayembe. It's 0-0. Just past the midway stage of the first half here on TalkSport 2. Jim Proudfoot and David Connolly talking through the action of Vicarage Road. Kamara, cleverly, under pressure from Bastian, forced to get the ball out towards Kayembe, and he drives it for Kamara, looking across the line, is offside. Yeah, he's got his head in his hands. I mean, he knows he's got to look along the line exactly as you say. A little slight bit of frustration if you're going to have Kayembe as sort of the holder, the base of midfield, and he's going to come out and get the ball. Has he got the range of passing? Has he got the ability to thread a forward pass in tight areas like a Josh Cullen? I'm not so sure. This might be the drinks break. At times the fans seem a bit frustrated with Kayembe that he doesn't really play the forward pass, and when he does, it's either he plays a pass, either goes backwards, sideways, or that time maybe delivered a little bit too late. Not necessarily talking about today's game, DC, but thinking the bigger picture of matches going forward. Kayembe and Chowdhury in the same midfield, does that work for you? Clearly, when you're playing against the side who are regarded as the best in the division other than yourselves, you can understand why they've done it tonight. But going forward, will they do that, do you think? Well, I think you could have a Chowdhury and a Cleverly in there, and then maybe one more creative one. At the minute, it looks like they're just lacking a little bit, but certainly as that one who's going to be at the base of midfield. Too often today, Kayembe so far has turned out and just played backwards or square. He hasn't gone forward enough when they've had it, and the times when they are able to go forward aren't going to be that many, because Burnley are going to dominate the ball. As you said, they've had it 30% of the time, and they might need to just risk possession a little bit, and that's the delicate balance, isn't it? The drinks break clearly is going to double up as a crash course coaching session for both of the managers as well. That's going on downstairs. Let me remind you that Game Day Live with Adrian Durham, Ray Parler, Mickey Gray and Chris Wellamo starts at 2:30 tomorrow on TalkSport after our live exclusive coverage of Aston Villa against Everton. Adrian's got all the goals as they go in from the Premier League, the EFL and beyond, including Arsenal, Leicester, Manchester City, Bournemouth and Brighton, Newcastle, and it includes that full classified results roundup at 5 o'clock. Our live Premier League action here on TalkSport 2 tomorrow is from the Amex, Brighton against Newcastle. On Sunday, here on 2 on the home of the EFL, Middlesbrough against Sheffield United, with the Blades then in action again Wednesday night as they host Sunderland, and that one also on TalkSport 2 a 7:45 kickoff. Monday evening, final date for your diary for now. It's Liverpool against Palace, exclusive to TalkSport live from Anfield, with Adrian Durham, Sam Matterface and Danny Murphy. The drinks break is over, we're back underway. 25 minutes gone on Vicarage Road, it's 0-0. Sun's gone down behind the stand, all shadow on the pitch now, as Kamara again, looking across the line, is offside. And a few more murmurs of discontent when you make the same mistake twice. Yeah, that's right. Frustration. But also, you've got to credit Vincent Kompany and his team. Every time Watford break forward, it looks like Harwood Bellis and Charlie Taylor always have an arm in the air because they know their line is right. You wouldn't call it a high city sort of line, but it's really well drilled, and that comes from work on the training ground, because they're going to make you work hard if you're a forward. If you're lazy, you're going to be caught offside tonight an awful lot. Burnley working it forward into Watford territory. Barnes using his considerable strength to get the better of Kayembe. Costello with Gaspar making life difficult for him. Plays back the way that he's facing. Charlie Taylor has to do the same and goes back for Muric. Muric under pressure. Good pass, wasn't it? Brilliant pass. just fired it out towards Taylor on the left-hand side.
Yeah, just used Sarr as a bit of a wall and just bent it around him brilliantly. I mean, Maatsen went a little bit too early there, bombed on, and actually Taylor had nothing on, had to go back to his goalkeeper. So Maatsen, I mean, he's looked so sharp. He can turn, he can drop a shoulder, he looks so comfortable on the ball. But just got to make sure he's also available for a little pass if Taylor needs him.
He scored the winner on his debut against Huddersfield. Ian Maatsen, he had a really good loan spell at Coventry last season. Clarence fans raving about his contributions in the early part of this season. Sema, as he kept it in. Yes, according to the official. No, according to Vincent Kompany, and I'm inclined to agree with him. Kayembe trying to get himself into a shooting position. Cleverly down towards Mario Gaspar. Cleverly will turn if Watford score from this. Vincent Kompany is going to be furious because he thought with some justification, I think, that the ball had gone out of play for a throw on this near touchline. Sema was judged to have kept it in, that not all of the ball had gone out. Watford have still got it, but they're back in their own half now. Burnley have pushed them back out again. Sema trying to turn away from Cullen. Square to his right for Kayembe. He finds Chowdhury with the shock of black hair. And then it goes out towards Mario Gaspar. Gaspar to Tom Cleverly coming in off that right flank. Chowdhury back out towards the right-hand side for Cleverly again. Bent down the line for Sarr. Sarr got the beating of his man on the right-hand side. Pulls it in towards João Pedro. But it was really well read by Roberts, who shuffled across to get there first. And Maatsen will clear for Burnley.
Oh, I tell you what, he did brilliantly there, Roberts. Left his full-back area, got across the pitch and just took it off the toe with João Pedro. What a turn of pace by Sarr. I mean, that's the first time we've really seen him open his legs. And a bit of a coming together here off the ball. I think it's Barnes and Serialto by the looks of it. We've seen Ashley Barnes involved in a few of these down the years.
And Serialto was lying on his back, and Barnes looked at him disdainfully and waved him up. The ball had been fired past the pair of them. I suppose a collision was inevitable. Serialto's okay without the need for treatment. It is a free kick to Watford. Serialto is motioning with his right elbow in the direction of the referee to indicate what he thought was done to him by Barnes. But no thought of producing a yellow card for that challenge from referee Bramall. All over the top for Watford. 29 gone, 0-0. Waiting for the first shot on target of the night still. Sema gets to the byline. Left-footed ball clipped in from him. It's headed away by Maatsen. And it'll be brought under control by Cathcart. He's flicked it forward for Hassan Kamara. Kamara trying to get it through the legs of Josh Cullen, who read that, and then Kayembe fouls Barnes, pushes him to the deck. Barnes gets up to his knees with his arms outstretched, and the referee's given him the free kick.
Yeah, they've done that a few times, Watford, haven't they? Made the little technical fouls, I guess you call them, which surely must add up at some point. I mean, the crowd have made me laugh. Kayembe, of all players, when he's received it 30 yards out, they're encouraging him to shoot. There's no way he's going to shoot, and I understand, because they probably want to see a little bit of action, right? But, I mean, Kayembe's not the man that's going to do that.
And we welcome listeners from TalkSport joining us here at Vicarage Road, where half an hour in, it is still Watford 0, Burnley 0 in this game between the sides that the bookies would tell you are the best two in the division. We haven't had a single shot on target as yet, with both cancelling each other out. David Connolly's alongside me. Watford changing the shape tonight to play a back four, which is something that Rob Edwards, their new manager, has never done in a league game in his managerial career before. Has it worked?
Well, I mean, hard to say. Look, we knew Burnley were going to dominate the ball, right? So he's maybe tried to match them up. Plus, that shape that he brought from Forest Green hasn't quite worked so far. But they are the home team. Try to be a little bit more on the front, but Burnley have bossed the ball. They've looked really, really sharp without really carving anything of note, you've got to say. Gone sideways, gone wide well, but into the front, it hasn't quite happened so far.
Here's Ashley Barnes for Burnley, who has a little bit of support to his right-hand side. Benson on his full debut for the Clarets, but he hasn't had the service to make too much of an impression so far. Colin Roberts has it. He's played it back through the midfield. Now Burnley on the front foot. Benson's not going to be able to keep that in. And he goes out of play for a goal kick. Well, David Connolly, the former Republic of Ireland international striker, is alongside me. The game is live on TalkSport 2. So if you've got the TalkSport app, you can just swipe left, swipe right, and keep up to date with everything going on TalkSport and events here at Vicarage Road tonight. But as I say, we still wait for our first shot on target. It's Watford 0, Burnley 0. And in fact, still wait for the first opportunity really to give the Larynx much of a run out tonight. It hasn't been a chance for the supporters really to find their voice. It's been one of those intriguing games.
Yeah, hence the crowd just encouraging Kembe to shoot from so far out. They want someone to shout about, not just you, Jim.
Here's Joao Pedro. Oh, that's a better ball. Sarr brings it down beautifully, angles tight, and the ball has ended halfway up the stand.
Yeah, I mean, it looked from here like he was offside, but wasn't given. Nonetheless, terrific control, great take out the sky, lovely switch of play. I mean, Manson just caught a little bit narrow, but in the end, he's on the angle, couldn't quite keep the shot down and really test the goalkeeper.
I, like you, thought he was offside, but he had been played on. There was a lovely piece of control, but the shot that followed it, not quite so good from Ismaila Sarr, who had that strange game on Monday night. A goal from 58 yards and then a miss from 12. The penalty that has just about got to the goal line now. It was a strange night for him because the finish has that gave Watford the lead in that game. Almost so good a goal that the goal of the season competition was ruled void there and then. Yeah, you just wonder as well, the way Maric plays, out of his goal. It wouldn't surprise you if the same thing happened again at times. If you look at him, he's always really high, like a Edison-esque, so could happen again if Watford get the ball back. Roberts, that's an if, isn't it? Into Barnes. That's come off his chest and gone straight out of play for a throw, which Kamara will take. It's 0-0, 12 minutes to go to half-time.
Well, just looking at Kembe, and you could tell he was going to go sideways. He receives a throw, but he's already got his back, and he's receiving it with square shoulders. So, really, the only place he can go is either backwards or square. He's just got to work a little bit on how he receives the ball to enable him to go and play forward. Because when you've got Joao Pedro and players like that in the team, and Sarr, that's your strength, right? You need to get the ball to them.
Kembe playing the 100th game of his career today. As Cathcart has got a few more on the clock than that. Swings it out towards the Watford right-hand side for Sarr. Sarr exchanging passes with Mario Gaspar. And then the Spaniard will go back, finding Ciralta. Chilean to his left-hand side for Cathcart. Cathcart back into Burnley territory again as he invites Hassan Kamara to make the run forward. He's got Ken Sema outside him. He's played it down towards Sema. Sema wrapping his left foot around it, cleverly coming onto it, but Matson was there first. Then Costello was oblivious to Mario Gaspar getting the jump on him, but Burnley clear it with Roberts from the edge of his own penalty area. Cullen, I beg your pardon. Cullen then heads it forward again, but Brownhill's ball just evades Benson. And Watford have the opportunity to come forward in the next phase of play. Chowdhury back inside his own half for Ciralta. Ciralta to Kayembe. Out of the Watford right-hand side where Gaspar's got more time to deliver this time. Charlie Taylor heads it away on the dive. Left-footed ball flicked back forward by Kayembe. Cleverly battles for it along with Bastian. Another one of Burnley's summer signings. Cleverly. Ball played the wrong side of him and he couldn't recover quickly enough. Burnley able to bring the ball down and get it away, and all of a sudden they might be able to break quickly here. 4 against 4, but the ball from Brownhill came back in behind Benson, and any momentum that there was in the counter-attack was extinguished in the blink of an eye there. Yeah, because he just wasn't high enough there, Benson, and that's because, let's just break out for this. Bastian bringing it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Matson had his path towards the edge of the box blocked off by Ciralta. And Watford have it with Kamara, who can get it away. Yeah, I mean, Benson spent a lot of time tracking back, and at times it's been hard for him to keep up with the likes of Sema, so he looks out of breath at times, Benson. Harwood Bellis, Barnes turning it for. Almost broke for Costello because it took a deflection that took the pace out of it. Gaspar clears, Ciralta gives him a low 5 to thank him for coming to cover in behind the centre-half. Burnley centre-half, Harwood Bellis that has it, and he plays it forward for Cullen. 9 minutes before half-time. 0-0. Benson. Just brings it back towards halfway for Cullen. We've seen that pass be played quite a few times. Harwood Bellis now for Charlie Taylor. And out to the left-hand side for Dara Costello. Costello, the former Galway United player who made his debut at Huddersfield in the opening game of the season. Didn't feature at all in the Premier League for Burnley. He's come short an awful lot, hasn't he, Benson? He hasn't mixed his game up in terms of coming short and going in behind. I think Kamara's just worked him out now. Yeah, knowing that he's always going to go short. Here he's come short again, and he hasn't really mixed his game up and offered a real direct threat in behind. Good ball, breaks the lines though for Bastian. Now it's played short towards Benson, who receives it. Kamara goal side of him. He's got the chance to try and run at him.
He's from a deep area though, isn't he, Jim? You know, he's always running from deep.
It's found Maatsen pushing forward much more now from left back in the way that Kompany loves his full-backs to do. His ball forward took a deflection. Sarr picks it up quite deep out towards Sema though, and Ken Sema with a chance to run at Connor Roberts. He's gone inside instead for Cleverley chipping it over the top of the Welshman, and Sarr's made a run forward, but in trying to get past Connor Roberts he couldn't do so. Roberts controls it with his first touch, finds Brownhill with his second, and Benson has another chance with the ball at his feet. But he's quickly dispensed with it to find Cullen wide towards Bastian, who's one of the cheaper of the summer arrivals. He cost £700,000 from Standard Liège, the Congolese international player who once scored against Arsenal in Europe. Brought back down in the midfield by Cullen, and Cullen goes to his right hand side for Connor Roberts again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Benson again. He receives to feet. He's just becoming a bit predictable, and now Watford have turned the ball over again. Kamara getting tight to him.
And Benson and Cullen that lost it between them, and Kamara finds Kayembe.
And the fans frustrated. Look, they wanted an early pass out to João Pedro.
Yeah, João Pedro having one of those nights where he's glad he's not getting paid by the touch, because he's hardly seen it.
Well, there's fans standing in front of me, remonstrating at the play. Give it to him. Play forward, go forward. A little bit too safe at the minute.
Well, taken up the Watford right-hand side, finds Sarr in the penalty area. Sarr turns, comes back out, tries to win a corner off Maatsen, but the cross didn't take a deflection, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. A couple of changes for Watford tonight in terms of personnel. No Emmanuel Dennis. As we understand it, the move is all but complete. £20 million signing for Nottingham Forest. Keenan Davis is going to be coming here, a player who's loaned to Forest last season, had a fantastic time in the Championship. Scored 5 goals, but his all-round play was integral in Forest's successful season under Steve Cooper, and he's going to sign a year's loan from Aston Villa. Keenan Davis having his medical this evening, and I think that his move will be announced, if not tonight, tomorrow morning. That deal done. So Keenan Davis is coming in, Emmanuel Dennis is leaving. £20 million for Dennis looks a good bit of business to me. Yeah,
I mean certainly the Watford fans will miss him, but I think they knew it was going to happen, and I think Keenan Davis, Steve Cooper trusted him in the playoff final. He's a good player. I think he's a good signing.
Kamara's conceded a corner as Maatsen drove it forward. Kamara was off balance, needed to make sure the ball wasn't going to find Benson, and he just stabbed the left foot at it. It goes out of play for Burnley's second corner of the night, 0-0.
A little nuance in terms of how Burnley start with the ball in their own, playing out from goal kicks. Howard Bellis takes it. He's the centre half in the 6-yard box, gives it to Muric, or goes and plays, or plays it long, and that's very rarely has Muric taken a goal kick.
Burnley have taken this corner short like they did the last one. It's Bastian getting himself into a shooting position. His shot was hard blocked by Gaspar and ricocheted back inside the penalty area. Watford left 2 forward again, trying to make the most of that, but a difficult one for Kamara to head forward towards Sarr, and Maatsen back covering could find his goalkeeper.
I'll tell you what, Jim, leaving Ismaili Sarr up against Connor Roberts 1v1, I think that's a brave or stupid really by Vincent Kompany. That is a real gamble. He's far too strong for him, and obviously with the ball at his feet, too tricky. They got away with that one just about.
Robertson sliced the clearance, out of play for a throw. They leave Watford, the two attack-minded players. One of them's the left-back Kamara, but he and Sarr stand on the left flank.
The opposite side to where the ball is, from the corner.
And down right on halfway, so they're onside. Anything that can get played into a massive area, because into Watford into Burnley territory, they're going to be first too.
And what they're hoping for is that
cleverly swings this cross in and misses everybody, and it's a goal kick.
As the ball is taken from the opposite side in the far corner, they start this side, I imagine, by the touchline, by the benches, because they know that if they do turn it over, the area they're going to attack is probably where the ball's come on the opposite side. They've got two-thirds of the pitch that's empty to go and attack into, so it's a tactic that obviously Rob has worked on, and we'll see. It nearly came off there. Better header from Kamara. They were 2v2 in on goal.
Muric with the clearance. And Watford win the seconds in the midfield again. A little flick from João Pedro. Ken Semmer, who's on the right-hand side for a moment, taking on Charlie Taylor, who's pushed out there from centre-half, and Semmer has done well to drag him out of position. Ball is laid back, high, right-footed ball swept inside the penalty area is not what was required. There's a hand of apology there from Mario Gaspar, but it's gone out of play for a goal kick, which Harwood Bellis will take.
But he's not the goalkeeper, but he'll take it. You know, it is a slight nuance, isn't it, in terms of, you know, leaving the goalkeeper Muric out of it, and the two centre-halves dictate where the ball goes.
It's a tactic that you most often see when a side is trying to waste time, and the goalkeeper perhaps has had a warning for time wasting from the referee, so one of the centre-halves stands over the goal kick so that he can waste a little bit of time as well.
Also, that might be Vincent Kompany recognising maybe Muric isn't as good as his two centre-halves in terms of building the play, picking the right pass.
Cathcart in possession for Watford, played forward cleverly, smacking it straight into Cullen. It's all a little bit scrappy again. Benson on this near touchline, the Burnley right-hand side.
Has he ever gone on the outside, Benson, so far? He's a left footer playing right wing, inverts, always cuts in field. He hasn't offered any sort of threat in behind so far.
I just wonder whether at some stage he and Costello might swap flanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to give him some width, you know, just to get round the outsides. I mean, Watford have that, don't they? They have the natural wide men, Semmer off the left with his left foot and Sarr off the right.
Yeah, Costello has played on each flank over the course of this season so far. Benson on the right, in possession again. Bit more space now for Cullen. Right-footed ball inside the penalty area from him is headed away by Cathcart. We've got 90 seconds to go to half-time. Brought down on the edge of the box by Costello, but it's high up and under from him, straight into those travelling Clarets supporters. 0-0.
Yeah, disappointing finish there. I was going to say Benson sort of hedges his bets, really, in terms of playing safe, but I thought that was a bit cheesy, that one. Benson hedges.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. I wasn't throwing tumbleweed in your direction. Don't worry about that.
It's one of Dan's ones then. Bit cheesy, bit cheese. Friday night.
Goal kick taken away to our right-hand side by Daniel Bachmann. A minute to go to half-time. Ball flicked on by Brownhill after Taylor brought it back through the midfield. Bastian then is in there and cleverly has fouled him. And it's a free kick which will be taken by Burnley. They took it from the wrong place, and then they took it from the wrong place again. The third time lucky. The ball will be spotted down on the halfway line, I'm sure, and Charlie Taylor is going to stand over it. We had a couple of stoppages early in the half, and we've had a drinks break. It's going to be a couple of minutes, I'm sure, that will be added at the end of this first 45. And the fourth official, Lee Dowd, he's got the numbers board in his hand. He'll confirm that in a moment. Taylor leaves the free kick for Harwood Bellis to take, and then taps it into the Yorkshireman's path. Play forward by Taylor to Cullen, to Harwood Bellis, and back again into the feet of Taylor. Maatsen out to the left for Costello. Matson's going to be able to take it on here, and just went shoulder to shoulder with Sarr, and each of them lent into the other. The free kick's gone Watford's way. Into those 2 added minutes. 0-0, still the score here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, that just looked like being their best move, really, for Burnley. Really patient, probing, you know, nice little give and goes, quick, one-touch play, eventually into Maatsen. It just looks like it's getting the other side, and then the pace of Watford, which they have. I mean, they're pretty quick, you know, just enabled them just to get back the right side, and they probably possess that little bit of directness that Burnley don't, and speed.
Bachmann driving the ball forward, headed on by João Pedro, whacked away by Harwood Bellis over halfway, just getting the ball out of harm's way late in the half, and it's going to be a throw which will be taken by Serralta for Watford, whose home record, as David was talking about earlier, really poor in the Premier League last season. They took only 8 points here. They dropped only 10 at home in the last Championship season when they had the best home record in the country. Well, which way is their season going to go? So they haven't conceded at home yet this season. The got the ball again, right hand side of the area. It's Sema, he's got options to pull it back. Cleverly! 1-0 Watford, the birthday boy scores in first half stoppage time. Tom Cleverly breaks the deadlock with the first shot on target of the night, and it's a big goal for Watford, who lead Burnley 1-0.
Yeah, we just spoke about in terms of Watford, how they get in behind. They've got the pace. Sema does superb here to break, gets in behind. Finally, there's a cross with a bit of quality. It's not a high one, it's a low cutback, and it's probably the one player you want coming onto the ball with a first-time finish, just past the penalty spot. Tom Cleverly, really calm, composed finish. I think there was a couple of players in front of him. He just used them as a bit of a guide and just passed this in towards the near post. A wonderful little first-time finish here, slotted away superbly from Tom Cleverly.
Bit of quality right at the end of the first half. Cleverly finding the bottom right-hand corner. Well, they beat Sheffield United 1-0 in the opening weekend of the season. They now lead Burnley 1-0. Those will be a couple of very notable scalps. If, and it is a big if, they can hold on. Cleverly, incidentally, injured in scoring the goal, is having his left knee taped up. The 2 minutes of added time have fully elapsed now. Play restarts. Harwood Bellis pumping it forward long. Barnes trying to flick it on. Appeals for handball against Serralta. But the referee has given a goal kick to Watford rather than a penalty to Burnley. Barnes furious, absolutely adamant. Well, that should have been a penalty. It is going to be a goal kick to Backman, and this will be the last kick of the first half.
Well, I mean, going back to this celebration from Tim Cleverly, I mean, he jumps in the air, and as he lands, he seems to just sort of jar his knee. I mean, he's up and walking about now, so he should be okay. But it's a really good move from Watford. It looked like just Sarr fed the ball into Sema. He cut the ball back with his left foot, didn't really trust his right. And there's Tom Cleverly, a little bit of quality to throw the ball home, and they got the lead at half-time.
That is walking back onto the pitch and then straight back off it again. First down the tunnel. Tom Cleverly, the man whose goal is the difference between the two sides. Burnley, loads of possession. Watford with the one quality moment. Watford 1, Burnley 0. Change of piece. It's Dan Gosling for Tom Cleverly for Watford, injured in scoring the goal. He'll be replaced by Gosling, and has twice been promoted from the Championship in the past, once here with Watford and also with Bournemouth. And Burnley's changed, not like for like. Costello off, Cork is on to replace him, and that may well see Bastian moving into a wider position with Cork playing alongside Cullen, and Brownhill at 10. All will become apparent very quickly. I don't think Teller for Benson is a change that's going to be too far behind either, but it hasn't happened yet. We're back underway. Burnley, claret and blue, white shorts, kicking from right to left. And Watford, yellow shirts and black shorts on the back foot straight away. Matson trying to be more direct. Kayembe has got it away. Sarr with a lovely turn and gets away from his man, punts it forward. Harwood Bellis is there to sweep up, lays it back for Cork in the midfield, and Harwood Bellis will get a quick return ball and then drive it right-footed out towards the far touchline, where Benson goes up for it. Sebastian has indeed, David Connolly, moved out to the left-hand side. Not an out-and-out winger necessarily, but he's playing on the left-hand side of the midfield three now, with Benson and Brownhill as a 10 behind Barnes.
Yeah, that's how it looks, and let's see what changes, if they can be a little bit more direct. They started the first half really well on the front foot, we're very, very sharp. But then we're just maybe a little bit predictable in their play, Can they just get in behind a little bit more often? They've got natural width out here now on the left, which they didn't have in the first half.
Run through the two teams for you in just a moment. It is Watford 1, Burnley 0. Tom Cleverly scoring with his last touch of the game in the second minute of stoppage time. Injured in scoring the goal. He hasn't reappeared for the second half. Charlie Taylor's got the ball at the back for Burnley. Driven forward by him. Barnes tries to bring it down on his chest, but his touch with his chest went behind Bastian and goes out of play for a throw. Watford kicking from left to right, have Backman in goal, Gaspar, Serralta, Cathcart and Kamara, and then in midfield it's Gosling, Kayembe and Chowdhury. Sarr, Joao Pedro and Senna are the front three. Burnley, Muric in goal, Roberts, Harwood Bellis, Taylor and Matson, and then in midfield it's Cullen and Cork. Brownhill at 10, Benson wide on the right, Bastian on the left, and Ashley Barnes going through the middle. Referee is Tom Bramall. He hasn't booked anyone so far tonight. Free kick's been given Burnley's way here. Harwood Bellis not too happy, I think, either with the challenge or the fact the ball was kicked away after him. That's a free kick which Harwood Bellis is going to take, and he's just tapped it forward for Charlie Taylor. A couple of minutes into the second half. 1-0, Watford lead. They've
had a few passes, haven't they, those two, Harwood Bellis to Charlie Taylor. I mean, high completion rate as well, but often little 10-yard passes to restart playing. It's always, well, not always, they have taken turns, but when they are building up, certainly from goal kicks, it's Harwood Bellis to Taylor, and then they go and play.
Taylor looking for the long diagonal on that occasion, trying to bring Benson into the game, and he's won a throw, which will be taken in front of the Graham Taylor stand over on the far side from us. Harwood Bellis, square for Taylor again. Taylor down towards Ian Maatsen now. Maatsen, the Dutchman, supplying him with the return ball immediately, and then Charlie Taylor, using his experience, having stumbled, kept the ball between his feet, did enough to make sure that it wasn't obstruction. He stopped Chowdhury getting there. Watford do win it back, and João Pedro will pick it up down on the dead ball line and wins Watford's first corner of the night in the 4th minute of the second half.
Yeah, I mean, he did well there, João Pedro. There wasn't a lot on. He looked up in the box, nobody in there, so he either had to pass back, or he just thought, I might win a corner here, play it off Burnley leg, and he has got a good set piece here.
Dan Gosling, the likeable Devonian, is going to come across to take it. It is Watford's first corner. Burnley had 2 before half-time. Watford leaving 2 forward for the Burnley corners. No thought of Burnley leaving anybody forward at all. Gosling's delivery really poor, and easily headed away at the near post by Maatsen. Didn't beat the first man. It goes out of play for a Watford throw. Home win that they had against Sheffield United last time out, their first since November. They're still acclimatising to life here at Vicarage Road, being a winning team again. Sarr trying to take on Taylor. He's just kept it in, and it looks as though he's going to run out of play. He can come back out, turn away, face up by Taylor. He can't get the ball in. It's just played in towards the edge of the penalty area. Then he gets it back, and Brownhill's fouled him, and it's a free kick to Watford on the right-hand touchline. Brownhill not happy with that decision at all.
Oh, it's a brilliant bit of skill, though, isn't it, from Sarr? I mean, superb. He's got Brownhill closing down from the side. He lifts it over his head, goes round the other side. Bit like Carney, that was. It's class. Yeah, that Dan Windle's nodding his head beside me. He's seen that skill down at Fratton Park a few times.
Free kick to be taken here by Gosling. And Watford have got, 6 inside the penalty area to attack it. Gosling raises his left hand above his head. Much more air underneath this one. It goes deep and is headed away by Roberts. And out of play for Watford's second corner. And Ken Sema and Hamza Chowdhury are going to go across to take charge of this. Chowdhury spotting the ball down, takes it short, back for Sema, left-footed away swinger. Charlie Taylor can head that one away from the edge of the 6-yard box. Brought down well by João Pedro in a deeper position, just trying to make something happen to flick it to his right. Kayembe has it, all left foot. Eda Kayembe drives it inside the penalty area, chested down and cleared by Burnley into the feet of Barnes, trying to buy a free kick from Cathcart. The referee happy for play to go on, and Roberts will turn it forward. Burnley haven't had the passing fluency, though, in more attacking areas that they have been able to show in their 2 previous games. Might they be able to work something now? Barnes for Maatsen to Bastian. Bastian back into a more congested central area. Josh Brownhill, who scored the winner here last season, finding the man who scored the first Burnley goal here, Jack Cork. Corker, former Watford man, he had a loan spell back in 2009 here at Vicarage Road. Charlie Taylor to Harwood Bellis, every outfield Burnley player inside Watford territory. They're kicking from right to left. As the ball is played inside the penalty area, Maatsen is back for Brownhill, big moment, good save. Backman came out, stayed tall, got his right leg to it. That was able to stop Josh Brownhill finding a way through, but that was much better from Burnley, arguably their best move of the game.
Yeah, we saw this at the Hawthorns, didn't we? Backman had to make a couple of saves, and he did here. Brilliant move, nice early ball into the box from wide, put on a play for Brownhill. Maybe his touch was a little bit heavy, just he invited Backman to come out and close the angle, and I think he might have tried to square this in the end, Brownhill, but little leg stuck out, and good goalkeeping from Backman.
Stats are everything these days, of course. Football hasn't quite got as far as baseball, but it's not too far short. They have expected shots on target saved for goalkeepers these days, as Chowdhury is caught here by Jack Cork, and the former Watford man is going to be spoken to. Bachmann's figure this season, so what they're measuring is the quality of shots that are coming in, only those on target, and how many goals a goalkeeper has let in relation to the quality of those on target shots. Yeah. Bachmann already is more than 2 goals better than you would expect him to be. So in other words, he's only let in the 1 he should from the shots that the opposition have let in 3 goals already this season.
Well, certainly a few of those would have been at West Brom the other night.
Yeah, absolutely. He was brilliant that night. Sarr to Ken Sema, bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Slightly misjudged step over. Kamara can play it in. Chowdhury coming around the back. Joao Pedro there as well. Chowdhury ends up leaning over the hoardings. Joao Pedro got caught between 2 Burnley players, one of whom, Maatsen, has taken a very heavy tumble. The net result of it all is another Watford corner.
Well, should it have been a corner? I mean, it's a ball to the back post. Did it go out of play? It looks like it. I'm not too sure a Burnley player heads that out, but gone Watford's way. Let's see if Gosling can put in a better delivery this time. He didn't beat Maatsen the last time, just stationed about 4 yards in front of the near post.
Gosling takes this one, and it's worked into that near post area. It's even worse. I think he was expecting movement from somebody to try and attack that, and it just wasn't forthcoming, and maybe he got the angle wrong as well. Dan Gosling has stretched it out of the left hand and apologises. High ball forward from the back by Bachmann, chased after by Sema, and Connor Roberts had to get those legs pumping to make sure that he was able to get the dominant touch to guide it back for Harry Muric in the Burnley goal. It's Watford 1, Burnley now. We played 9 minutes of the second half here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, it's more open, isn't it? And actually similar performance, right, to the Sheffield United game from Watford. Started pretty slowly, but, sort of grew into it. The goals give them a bit of confidence as well now. Belief in how they're able to maybe pick up or get a goal lead when maybe not playing at their best.
So there's still 35 minutes to go against a top quality championship team, but if Watford were to hold on here, I think they would look at the 3 matches that they played so far this season, and yes, there's room for improvement in terms of their performances, but if they had 7 points from a possible 9 from those games, that would be an outstanding platform for their season. Absolutely. When they've already played Sheffield United, West Brom and Burnley. Yeah.
And look, you wouldn't say they've been very efficient in around the final third, but who cares? At the moment in time, they get a goal to the good at home again, as they were against Sheffield United, and they still carry a real threat, don't they? Even without Emmanuel Dennis.
Dennis, if you're just joining us, verge of completing that £20 million move to Nottingham Forest. Connor Roberts to Josh Cullen. Cullen to Maatsen. Maatsen drives that forward, left-footed. Serralta just stood still, really, arms out, just making sure that the ball was going to go through to his goalkeeper, but also just making himself as large as possible to stop Barnes being able to run past him. Tomorrow, Game Day Live starts at 11 with the brilliant Reshman Chowdhury, and our live action is from Villa Park. Aston Villa against Everton at 12:30 kickoff. Also live on TalkSport tomorrow, Game Day Live with Adrian Durham. All the goals as they go in from 2:30. And we've got Cardiff Birmingham, followed by Brighton Newcastle here on TalkSport 2. They kick off at 12:30 and 3 o'clock respectively. All of those games exclusive. Sunday, we've got Middlesbrough against Sheffield United, exclusive action from Teesside on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. And Monday night, more exclusive action from Anfield as Liverpool entertain Palace. Watford have possession inside their own penalty area with Gaspar. Spanish debutant whacking it upfield and running around it. Harwood Bellis has got all the time in the world to bring it under control and just angle the ball out towards his right hand side for Jack Cork. 1-0 Watford lead it. Their last home win against Burnley back in 2017 when Mbanyang scored the winner in a 2-1 victory. 5 years on, are they going to be able to get another crucial home win and make it back-to-back home successes at the start of this season on a ground where they lost 15 home games last campaign, which is a club record. Muric for Burnley spears it out towards the left-hand side, a disguised ball which was so heavily disguised Taylor didn't anticipate it. He was having to scamper after it to keep it in on the left-hand touchline, but Burnley can win the seconds with Maatsen, and Maatsen then will lay it back for Cullen. Cork wasn't sure where the ball was going to go. He was directing traffic in the midfield. He's actually ended up getting there ahead of Dan Gosling. used his experience to somehow get there first. And now he has it back on his feet and can work it into the feet of Bastien. Maatsen peels into a wider position on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Brownhill has it, plays it out towards Benson. Benson, who's flicked in and out of this game. And he's got it again, down on the dead ball line. Turning camera, Cathcart heads his cross away, falls on the edge of the area for Cullen, ricochets off a Watford player, and then a shot comes in on the turn from Bastien, but it's high and wide.
Yeah, again, it's just sort of, really struggling to get any sort of quality in around the final third. Had gone sideways. Maybe Jack Cork could have just given that to Bastien a little bit earlier, checked out, went wide, and, just crossing from deeper positions. Burnley not really getting around the back, and it still looked pretty comfortable at the minute, Watford.
Those are the thoughts of David Connolly. DC 12 minutes into the second half. They made the change and the tactical nuances with the change at half-time, where they took Costello off and brought Jack Cork on. Has it made enough of a difference?
It's made a little bit of difference. I mean, if you're looking at Vincent and how he does things, you can't necessarily say he wants to be a carbon copy of a Pep Guardiola, but if they're trying to be that way in the Championship, dominating the ball, having an awful lot of it, full-backs, high and wide, building from the back. If you look at Man City, you saw them last week against West Ham, they would have 5 players on the last line of the defence, always looking to get in behind, always. You look at Burnley today and they might have 2 or 3, so there's a little bit more play at the back and in the middle third, but maybe not enough actually threatening on the last man in that sort of hot zone on the last line of opposition defence. You go and watch a Man City at times when they're dominating the ball, have 4 or 5 players looking to break in beyond. I haven't really seen that from Burnley, that amount of players, and I think they needed to commit a couple more forward.
Offside flags up against Ken Sema, who'd come back from an offside position and receiving the ball on halfway, and it's a free kick which Burnley will look to take. Well, I was going to say quickly. They slow things down for a moment, and Cork, when he does take it, then works it backwards. They're not the progressive passes that perhaps Burnley fans would want to see. They're trusting in the process. Now they'll play it forward. Cork into the feet of Benson. No offside flag against him, despite the calls from those clad in yellow in the Graham Taylor stand. Had a good view of it, and it's a throw which will be taken on the Burnley right, and an opportunity maybe to launch a long one inside the penalty area. Connor Roberts is going to take it. Arches the back. It wasn't Rory Delap or Dave Challoner. It fell towards the edge of the penalty area after a real looping throw, which was half cleared, and Brownhill's smacked it over the bar. Yeah,
difficult one coming onto it. Ball coming across your body on your weaker side. First time finish, gone to his laces and just miscued it. I mean, just coming back to how you break down sort of defence. What have Burnley got now to go and break down this Watford defence, which will be the challenge, right? I mean, he signed certain players, Benson, because they will beat a low-line defence, i.e. they're really good in tight areas. I can't recall a player getting half-turned in a space like a Gundogan or anyone like that, feeding anyone in those dangerous places. It's just been from a little bit deeper, and it's certainly still a work in progress. I think the easy thing is getting this bit at the back, building from the goalkeeper, building from the back in the middle of it. It's the really difficult part is in and around the final third, and maybe it looks like it just needs a tiny bit more work.
Well, they're going to make a change. J-Rod is ready for action, and he'll be on in a moment for Burnley, who are claiming they should have had a free kick for a foul on Bastien, but it wasn't given. It will be a Watford throw. They're not going to make the change just yet. Is it going to be a straight swap? Rodriguez for Barnes. Saw the action down there on the bench. I must admit, I was expecting it was going to be Teller for Benson. Maybe a couple of worries about Nathan Teller, who only arrived in the building yesterday, just in terms of his match fitness and knowing the plan and the patterns of play. Arwood Bellis gets it away, high, right-footed, up and under clearance. Cork has been able to bring it down. It's a brilliant touch, as David alluded to, and then will be able to push forward again. Work then cleverly by Cullen, out towards the left-hand side for Maatsen. Left-footed ball swung in from him. Barnes goes up for it, but he was offside. And it was called easily by Backman anyway. Yeah,
just drifted off there. Not a bad ball there from Maatsen. Stood up, but here's the 2 changes.
Well, it is going to be Teller for Benson, and he's the first one on, and Jay Rodriguez is going to come on again. 98 English league goals in his career. Will it be Rodriguez for Barnes as a straight swap up front? Yes, indeed, it is. So Rodriguez for Barnes, Teller for Benson, and the front three that started the game for Burnley, all off inside an hour or so.
Yeah. I mean, look, Jay's, I guess, got more pace about him. He'll penetrate in behind. He'll offer more of a threat to that back line. You know, the crosses, deliveries so far from wide haven't really come off in deeper areas for Ashley Barnes, and maybe, you know, Jay's just a bit of a different threat, different outlet for them. There's certainly a lot of pace now. You know, you've got Rodriguez and Teller now in that front part of the pitch.
Barnes, as you would expect, on a hot night like this, breathing quite heavily as he takes his place in the Burnley dugout. And the Burnley supporters, who you can hear chanting from away to our right-hand side, welcoming the arrival of one of their own, Jay Rodriguez, Burnley boy, back at the club for a second spell. Bastian trying to be a little bit more dynamic in bringing the ball forward. He stayed down injured. Always worrying when that happens, just moments after you've made your final change.
He's offside here, but that was a crunching tackle from Hamza Chowdhury, who had to get there. He's just about to pull the trigger, Bastian, and that's what Chowdhury is there for. And especially when you got a goal lead, you know, he'll be so important, winning those little battles of 50-50s. He looks a little bit knackered, but put his hands on his hips.
Well, Bastian's going to need some treatment. The referee went across and had a word. And then Daniel Backman, the Watford goalkeeper, who's in close attendance, has also signalled that the medical staff should come on to attend to him. Watford themselves are going to make a change. And we're going to see one of their summer signings, the Ivorian striker, £5 million arrival from Charleroi, Vacuum Bayo. And he will replace Ismail Assar. So Bayo for Sarr is Watford's second change with 64 on the clock at 1-0.
Yeah, I think, you know, freshen things up. I think Sarr's had a hand in the goal. He was obviously really good when he had the ball to feet. Maybe, you know, probably didn't have enough of it, but nonetheless, freshen things up. So he's going down through the middle, doesn't he, Bayo, by the looks of it, and João Pedro just moving out wide.
Scored 4 goals in a spell at Celtic back in the 1920 season. More impressively, 11 goals in 14 league starts for Charleroi last season. 1920
seasons, he's done well. He's 100 odd, by the looks of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't look it. Doesn't look it.
I love what he's
hasn't got a haircut of 100 over Centini.
Oh, you mean season 19 stroke?
Oh, is that what I meant?
Sorry.
The ball is played back by Mario Gaspar. And Backman will clear it. Yeah, played against you in that 1920 season, didn't he? Here's Ken Sema. Sema drives it forward. A little bit of a shove on him from Matson. Cullen in there strongly on Chowdhury. And the referee has said it's a Burnley ball.
It's only because I was listening to clips of the week earlier driving in, and they had quite a few from... There's one like that, I think, from Laura Woods. Oh, there's a few like that. I think actually they made a whole show about it, a whole show reel.
Clips of the week on Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport every Friday afternoon. Essential listening at 3:30 on a Friday. Here's Taylor. Did the John Elton stand get a mention, by the way? Here's Harwood Ballis.
I don't know, but 4 goals in 1920 and he's still playing, that might.
Yeah, absolutely. In black and white, now he's in claret and blue. Ball over the top. Or yellow and black, you know what I mean. The ball is out towards the left-hand side, and it's with Daniel Backman. 20 minutes into the second half. It's Watford 1, Burnley 0 here on TalkSport 2. Both of these sides have won promotion in each of their last 2 championship seasons. Very early days, and an unfair question to ask you, really, but which of the two would you say, on the strength of what you've seen so far this season, is the more likely to make it a hat-trick of successive promotion?
Well, I think certainly Watford are still in, you know, got room to grow in terms of how they're going to play under Rob Eddy. We don't quite know. It's pretty clear that under Vincent Kompany how Burnley are going to do things, and that might pose a few more problems. I don't think they have the same pace and threats that Watford do, but they look more refined in terms of how they play, and certainly in 2/3 of the pitch, just in around the final third, they don't have the same sort of craft and guile that Watford do.
Roberts with another long throw. Better distance on this one. Rodriguez, though, beaten in the air by Craig Cathcart in behind him. Burnley recycle it, and Roberts tries to deliver a low cross. Cork in strongly and has caught his man over on the far side, João Pedro. He's going to be okay, just hobbled for a moment, but he's going to be all right. Bastian, incidentally, is also okay, able to continue after the challenge from Chowdhury on him. But midway through the second half, the scoreline as it was at the break. Tom Cleverley's goal in first half stoppage time, the difference between the two teams here on TalkSport 2.
You don't think, Jim, that, Sarr coming off has got anything to do with a possible move, do you? And you're in terms of, João Pedro, I think, stays on regardless, right? He's the one that Rob is going to hang his hat on. He's certainly staying here, but I just wonder whether there might be something in that. Who knows in the coming days.
Certainly when we were here for the Sheffield United game, 10 days or so ago, we were expecting that one of the big hitters up front was going to go, at least one. Well, one's going in terms of Emmanuel Dennis. And that doesn't mean that Sarr isn't going to go as well. I think there were a few when he came off who were hedging their bets amongst the Watford supporters and got to their feet and gave him a standing ovation, just on the off chance they don't see him again here.
Maybe.
You never know. It's going to be a frantic transfer window. There's a lot of business still got to be done. Not an awful lot has been done in the grand scheme of things so far. I think there'll be plenty of moves between now and September the 1st. Still 1-0 Watford lead. Lovely touch from Maatsen, just dragging it back. A clever little flick with the left instep to playing Jay Rodriguez. He sets up Roberts, who tries to drive it forward and it hits Stan Gosling. Goes out to the right-hand touchline where it's brought under control by Bastian. And then Burnley work it way back inside their own half for Harwood Bellis. To Charlie Taylor. Taylor gets it back to his goalkeeper and then roll forward from him. Cullen under pressure, telling pressure, but there was a foul. It was Kayembe who saw the pass coming, and it was slightly under-hit from Muric. And Cullen did everything he could to stay between Kayembe and the ball. Felt contact from Kayembe, went to ground, and the referee has given a free kick, and there were no complaints actually from Kayembe about the decision.
I think it's the right one to go and press though, because it was a slow, bobbly, straight pass. That's the trick. Go on, you can go and win it. I would say maybe in the the first half of the game when it was 0-0, Taylor was getting the ball in that sort of situation and playing it forward, whereas now, down, maybe confidence waned a tiny bit, he's more likely to go back to his goalkeeper, and that just invited the press. This Harwood Bellis again going square. Maybe earlier in the game he might have gone forward a little bit, and a few of those passes, maybe they're playing maybe a bit like Watford were at the start of the game.
Roberts has got it for Cullen, doing well to withstand the challenge of Dan Gosling. Burnley had maintained possession. The referee actually pulled it back for a free kick. Burnley were in a hurry to take it quickly, and then took it too quickly for referee Bramall's liking. I think the ball was moving. Now they've started again, and they work it down towards the left-hand side for Maatsen. Left-footed ball in from Maatsen. Coming round the back is a right-footed volley from Brownhill that's well saved by the legs of Backman. And the second shot on target that Burnley have had all night, both from Brownhill, and Backman saved each of them with his legs.
Yeah, that was brilliant, that one, wasn't it? Lovely delivery from Maatsen. He doesn't really need to go and beat Gaspar. He delivered from deep again. Brownhill coming onto it on the angle. Terrific volley, going low. He's on target. Good save.
Maatsen increasingly involved, playing in Bastian, left-hand side of the penalty area for Burnley. Maatsen takes over again, running at Gaspar, getting the byline, standing it up to the far post. It goes over everybody's head, but Cleverley's going to get there. And a nice touch from him brings Roberts into play. Cork on the edge of the area in space. Sweeps it in right-footed the first time of asking Serralta clears it. Comes onto Cork's head, and Brownhill will mop it up on the right-hand touchline. And then he goes out to Brownhill from Cullen. Pressure being applied very quickly by Bakumbayo. And that pressure has seen Watford win it back, and then free kick given away over on the far side, I think, by Rodriguez. And Watford will be able to just calm things down. João Pedro buying the free kick, and midway inside his own half will get back to his feet without the need for treatment. And still Watford 1, Burnley 0 with less than 20 minutes to go now.
Yeah. And it was a good save from Backman. On the angle, you'd expect him to make it, but nonetheless, I know Ben Foster this season, new number one, and he's settled in well, hasn't he? He's probably saved his side another 2 goals today, so...
Yeah, he has done very well indeed. Daniel Backman, who was the second choice to Ben Foster in the second half of last season, But first choice for his country in the Euros last year for Austria. Mario Gaspar will take a throw for Watford. Well inside his own half. Lays it back for Siralta. He finds Backman, whose first touch just rolls with the studs of his right boot. Ball out of the penalty area, and then as he drives it out towards the left-hand side, he gets it past Joao Pedro, which wasn't his intention, and goes out of play for a Burnley throw that Roberts will take. 72 on the clock. Roberts waiting for options to present themselves. Cork comes to meet him, but Roberts takes the throw. Round the back of Kamara. Brownhill's made a good run and gets to it down by the corner flag. Both end up on the deck for a moment. Kamara, the first to get back to his feet. Clever little backheel flick from him to Cathcart, who was able to clear his lines, and it's a Watford throw.
Yeah, probably didn't make the most of that. I mean, I think Brownhill did well just to keep it alive, but it's a poor throw. I just wonder have they got anything now, something different up their sleeves, Burnley. Looks like they might make one more change here.
Ball throw down the touchline. It's Coutinho who's going to be coming on. Just getting a few final instructions. Brazilian winger, spoken to here by Vincent Kompany, and will be on shortly. Atella has hardly seen the ball since he came on for Burnley. He's got it now and lays it back for Charlie Taylor. Taylor then playing it through the midfield, that well-travelled path between him and Harwood Bellis, out towards the left-hand side for Maatsen. Maatsen getting towards the byline, wins the corner. Burnley's first of the second half, driving across in the Gasper steered behind.
Yeah, he looks like their most likely way, doesn't he, at the minute? Maatsen, every time he gets it, something's going to happen. Looks like he's going to get to the byline or certainly deliver a decent ball in the box.
So off comes Bastien, and Vitinho, who signed from Cercle Bruges in Belgium, is going to come on. He's come off the bench in all 3 Burnley games so far. Corner taken short. Well worked. Back for Brownhill, and they'll do it all again. I think Watford were switched on for the short one there between Brownhill and Cullen.
They should be by now, Jim, because every corner they've taken short.
Including that one. Number 4. In it comes right-footed, crossed in eventually, looping up inside the penalty area is Coutinho's delivery. It hit a Watford player. Loose ball ricochet through the midfield, and Roberts just played the way that he was facing back for Muric, who was much nearer halfway than the edge of his own penalty area when he fielded that. And then Maatsen with another ball that goes back towards his goalkeeper, but slightly under hit. I don't know whether the grass is just a little bit longer than they're expecting or used to, but there have been a few of those passes on a surface that maybe hasn't been watered quite as much as the Burnley players would have wanted.
There's not a hosepipe band around here, is there?
No, it's fine for sporting events. But yeah, I know it.
Surprisingly.
But I know what you're saying. It's just been a little bit slow, some of those passes. But anyway, Burnley have still got it with Taylor. Taylor down for Maatsen. Maatsen knocking it forward. Kayembe with a touch towards Gaspar. And then a little Maatsen and Rob Edwards just with a little shove. Any blame there, or is that just a complete collision?
I mean, Craig Bellamy's given him a little bit, but the ball's rolling towards Rob Edwards off the pitch, and he could have controlled it and stopped it. He just lifted his foot up, and that meant Maatsen sort of pushed past him and had to get it from the bench. So that's what that was about.
Harwood Bellis forward for Cullen. He's been shoved by Kayembe. Free kick to Burnley. There have been times when they haven't been particularly fluent or expansive or convincing, particularly in the context of the performances that they've shown so far this season, but as we go into the final 15 minutes, they're looking stronger than they have at any other stage of the game.
That was unlucky. Lovely ball spun round the corner from Cullen. We've seen that certainly against Huddersfield, just Brownwood couldn't quite collect it.
Maatsen's got it. Maatsen, who scored the winner in that game against Huddersfield, playing it to his right-hand side for Jack Cork. Quick little give and go between him and Brownhill. Brownhill then works it out towards the Burnley right-hand side again. Taylor getting to the byline, wins the corner. which will be taken over on the Burnley right. Burnley fans thinking the time's running out, but remember, when they played here back in April, they were 1-0 down at this stage and ended up winning. There's still plenty of time for them. Brownhill's going to go to take that corner. Is this going to be a direct one inside the penalty area for the first time tonight from the men in claret and blue? It's looking that way, although Vitinho might still offer himself for the short one. Though it is fired in directly. Heads go up for it. Harwood Bellis off the top of his head rather than towards goal. Kayembe gets it outside the penalty area. Back it comes in again from Taylor. It's an awkward ball. Dropped by the goalkeeper and hooked off the line by Bayo. That was a very good piece of play by Watford's most expensive summer signing. Out it comes again for Burnley to Maatsen. Backman's heart in his mouth with the ball not quite in his hands there. Well, Taylor.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Jim. Absolutely brilliant there from Bayo, because Rodriguez, Backman's appealing to the assistant referee as if should have been a foul. I think Rodriguez is entitled. You know he's going to go for a long looping ball like that. Challenged the goalkeeper, he spilled it, but great clearance there from Bayo. Just took it off the tie, couldn't see off a Burnley player, was about to knock it into the net.
Maatsen takes the throw for Burnley on the left. Jack Cork split the difference between Brownhill and Teller, and the ball is back with the goalkeeper Daniel Backman. 12 minutes to go. Watford leading Burnley 1-0 with Tom Cleverley's goal in first half stoppage time. Still the difference between the two teams. Watford with a couple of away games next, Birmingham and then Preston. Burnley a couple of home fixtures as Hull and Blackpool both go to Turf Moor. Harwood Bellis' header away. Chowdhury has had a solid debut for Watford in the midfield, playing it forward, and it's cleared by Maatsen out of play. Another Watford change is imminent, and we're going to see Yasser Asprilla come on, the Colombian who made his international debut in January, and he's going to come on for his Hornets debut for the last 11 minutes here.
Yeah, look, João Pedro, I think he's worked really hard for his team, but he's barely seen the ball today. Started off down through the middle, moved out wide. He gets a nice reception, big hug from his manager. I think certainly, he'd want to see a lot more of the ball, but there's a few fans in front of us who've got the João Pedro shirts on. Obviously they love him here, and I'm sure they hope he's not one of those that does leave the football club like Dennis. I don't think he will either.
Has scored in the last two home games. Can't make that 3 in a row tonight, but might still get his win bonus. Chowdhury. Play forward here towards Asprilla. And Asprilla is direct, he's pacey, and he's taking on Taylor. You think of the sensational impact that Cucho Hernandez made last season for Watford on his debut. And Asprilla is the same kind of player. Get the ball at his feet, and he's going to run at you. And he's going to run at you quickly. He's not always going to come off, but when he does, he's going to be really dangerous.
That's not a bad ball.
It's Cork who's played it, and he's trying to release Vitinho, who is through and pulled back, and that might be a red card. Camera with the challenge outside the penalty area. He wrestled Vitinho back, he was in past him, and he's sent off.
Yeah, right call. It's a brilliant ball from Jack Cork over the top, and he's racing away. And Camera, he tries to play the ball back to Backman. It looks like he just misses it, completely misses it, and then it's gathered, he's streaking away, and it just drags him back, last man, and he's got to go. Camera.
Well, Camera sent off at Palace in May, and now sent off here against Burnley tonight with 9 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Couldn't have had any complaints. He's a clear denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, and there were other defenders who were in the picture. But Vitinho's pace was such, he would definitely have been in a position to get a shot in there, absolutely. And the ball was going to get to him before it got to the goalkeeper. It's the right call. Yeah,
it is. He was just breaking into the box, Vitinho, and then he had a 1v1. Backman was coming out, but yeah, it's a certain red card. And it was a clear pull. He kept hold of that shirt, really ripped it off. They're going to make a change now because of that then, Watford. Kabasele looks like he's coming on.
So they're going to bring another defender on. You'd expect that to be the case. And it is Kabasele. So I wonder whether that means that they will now switch and go 3 at the back. With Kabasele alongside Cathcart and Serralta. There's Hamza Chowdhury that will make way. He gets a big ovation. It's been a really good debut.
It has. I mean, I think he's brought something that they needed, you know, a bit of a tug-of-war in there. They might also wish for a bit more craft and guile in the middle of the park at times, but I think if their front men are delivering and getting goals, you know, making something happen out of nothing, you can have a bit more solidity in the middle of the park, and I think they've got that, certainly with Chowdhury in there. I think Kayembe could pass forward a lot more and break a line. They could need a bit more craft there, but I think they'll take it in a minute once, as long as they still retain those front players, or most of them.
So Cavaselli comes on for Chowdhury, and Burnley have this free kick. It is 6 yards outside the penalty area. And it's going to be Brownhill to take it, and he swept it just wide. It's a brilliant save. He has got a hand to that backman. Now, whether it was just going to creep in inside the post or not, I'm not sure. But it's another sensational start. No, it was going wide.
Yeah.
But he's got his left hand to it to help it on its way. He couldn't take any chances. And it's a corner which will be taken by Burnley. Their fourth of this second half. High right-footed away swinger towards the penalty spot. Teller going up for it. Gaspar with a couple of headers away, and then Spreer will turn it out towards the halfway line, where it goes out for a Burnley throw. But it's going to be all Burnley possession the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, that was quite cute though, Jim, because what they did, Burnley, you know, they put 3 Burnley players on the end of the Watford wall, thinking Matson might bend this, or Brown might bend this goalkeeper's side. In the end, they went over around the Watford wall, and I think, as you say, it was just maybe half a yard wide, but Backman made the save. And probably stats, you know, it's all about the stats. Another save for him, probably.
It's all about the stats. Well, the stats, the most important stat in Watford's favour at the moment. Burnley have 6.5 minutes to try and rectify that. It was at this stage of the game back in April that they found their equaliser with Jack Cork. He can't find a way through on this occasion. Coutinho losing possession, then it's given away by Watford, and the other supporters getting not panicky but concerned. Ball played in towards Rodriguez, and Kayembe clears. It's out of play for another throw that will be taken on the Burnley right hand side. Is it going to be a first defeat for Vincent Kompany as the Burnley manager?
Well, I think his subs have come on and had a real injection of speed about them, which they didn't have. You know, Coutinho looks really quick, Teller too.
Teller found that pass understandably difficult to control. It took a lively bounce, but Burnley was still able to mop things up and win the seconds. Given away though by Matson. Dan Gosling will come forward from the back, and there's won the free kick, foul by Brownhill, and it's a yellow card, the first yellow that we've seen tonight.
Yeah, just sloppy pass there from Matson, and a square ball across the pitch, didn't reach the target, easily cut out by Gosling, and then Brownhill has to make the foul. I'd just rather Matson just look wide there. I mean, you know, he's got to tell her, just come on the pitch, open your body out, give it to your wide man, get around him, and rather than going and playing a square pass across the pitch.
Good noise here at the Vic as we go into the final 5 minutes. Asprilla chesting the ball down. Matson got it away from him, gave him a little shove. Play goes on. Matson lays it back for Rodriguez. Good spread of the ball out towards the right hand side. Coutinho didn't read it, and Muric has got to come off his line really quickly. He's all right foot, Harry Muric. He leant out and attacked the ball a little bit unconventionally, but he was there ahead of Bayo. He's put it out of play for a throw, which Watford will be in absolutely no hurry to take. They're in Burnley territory, which hasn't happened for a while. Crowd doing their bit to try and get them over the line here. Mario Gaspar hurling it down towards the corner flag. Charlie Taylor dealing with Bayo. Back comes from Teller and Mario Gaspar, and it's off the experienced Spaniard and goes out for a Burnley throw, but down by their own corner flag. Matson has taken it, chucks it inside his penalty area, where Muric controls it and Harwood Bellis takes over and plays in Roberts, and we've got 4 to go. Burnley looking for an equaliser, Watford looking for the clean sheet that will take them top of the table. The ball is with Jack Cork. Cork for Roberts, lovely turn by Teller, but Kayembe was there to pick his pocket and get it away. Good 1-2 between him and Mario Gaspar. Kayembe will bring it forward. Looks as though he wasn't too sure where he was going, but he was fouled by the retreating Cullen. And that'll do nicely from a Watford perspective. It's another free kick.
Yeah, shouldn't have committed that. I could understand the one earlier from Brownhill, but Josh Cullen-Kembe, he's not really going anywhere, as you say. They're in here, though.
Oh, free kick taken quickly, and Asprilla almost able just to jack it over the top for the runner, Bayo. But Burnley read it, Harwood Bellis headed it away, and Roberts very quickly has the ball back in Watford territory. They try and play in down the side of the back line. The back five now for Watford, down to 10 men, but holding firm. Matson plays it into Asprilla, wins the throw. Vincent Company comes across and gives Manson a couple of instructions. Throw taken quickly back for Harwood Bellis. So 5 now with Semmer at left back. The 3 usual centre halves and Mario Gaspar at right back. Ball played inside the area. Cork attacked it, but Gaspar got there to head it away. Back it comes from Matson. Matson getting to the byline, was fouled, and it's a free kick. 2 yards from the dead ball line and 5 yards to the left hand side of the area, and it's a yellow card for Asprilla.
Yeah, good deception there from Matson. You know, put his right arm up as if he's going to deliver the ball, took another touch, sucked Asprilla in. This is a couple of yards from the end line. Good position here for Brownhill. Obviously got the height as well now, Rodriguez.
Everybody's inside that penalty area apart from Muric. Roberts, Cullen, who stands on the edge of the D, and the free kick taker. Everyone else is there. A real crowd scene, both at the near post and to the right of the penalty spot as we look at it, where 3 from each team are both preparing to make runs to attack the ball. Left arm above the head again from Brownhill, delivered deep. It's a Watford head that's first to it. Cathcart goes out of play for a throw. Coutinho, is he going to leave it for Roberts to take a long throw? He is. We're into the final 90 seconds. Maybe 4 minutes to be added on, that's my guess. So 5 minutes or so playing time left. High ball inside the penalty area. Rodriguez comes to meet it to attack it. Cathcart gobbles it up and heads it away. Back out for Roberts. Roberts to Coutinho once more. Left-footed ball swept in from him, far too close to back. It's a really disappointing cross. Straight into the hands of Watford's goalkeeper.
Yeah, too many of them for Burnley today. Too many. I mean, they've kind of, how would you sum it up in a nutshell? You know, they've huffed and puffed a little bit and then just lacked that bit of quality in and around the box. You know, 2/3 of the pitch has been pretty good. The stuff which I think is easy to work on the training ground, but yeah, the finishing part, getting people half-turn, tight areas, slipping sort of passes through, breaking teams down, a little bit harder.
Yep, that hasn't gone their way. Watford will get it forward from the goal kick, trying to get Bayo in. But Taylor got it back to his goalkeeper. Muric plays out. McNally's going to come on for Burnley in a moment, which will be their final change. Matson takes out towards the right-hand side, which swung inside the area. Cork attacked it. What a save! Offside flag up anyway. Then hits the post, but the flag was long since up by the time Matson tried his luck. 5 minutes of stoppage time to play. That's another piece of outstanding goalkeeping. Academic in the end because of the offside flag, but what a stop.
I tell you what, did this come off Gaspar? I thought this might have come off him. It looked like it's maybe going to be an own goal. Good ball into the area. I think it might be Rodriguez slightly offside, but I think that might have come off Gaspar. Yeah, it would have been an own goal. Superb reactions there, because you don't expect that as your goalkeeper, that your fullback is going to head the ball and nearly plant it into bottom corner. Brilliant save.
So McNally is on. Luke McNally, another making his debut tonight, the Irish centre-half who they signed from Oxford in a £2 million deal. Sent off a couple of times last season, but did once score a hat-trick in his career as a young man. And he's come on and he's playing up front.
Yeah.
Alongside Jay Rodriguez.
Hit the big man.
They'll try. Matson, the man charged with doing that, but he couldn't bring the ball under control and get himself into a position to put the cross in. And it has gone out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Watford right-hand side, and they are going to be in no hurry to take this. We've played 90 seconds of stoppage time. Watford 1, Burnley 0. And having had that terrible home run here last season. Are they going to make it back-to-back home wins at the beginning of this? Cavaselli heads Jack Cork, punt forward away. And it goes out of play for a Watford throw, which will be taken on the right-hand side by Mario Gaspar. The last two Watford managers won only one home game between them. And Rob Edwards is just moments away now from winning his first two. Matson with a throw for Bernley. Short for Taylor. Taylor for Harwood-Bellis. Back from Roberts. Harwood-Bellis again. 2.5 minutes of stoppage time to go. Burnley needing to get the ball forward to try and salvage an equaliser. Watford hanging on with 10 men after Kamara's red card. Cork, ball didn't get to him. Kayembe, who's grown into the game, able to fire the ball away. Back it comes again for Roberts. Burnley again, deep inside Watford territory. Bringing it forward with Brownhill. Brownhill goes out towards the right-hand side for Vitinho. Roberts. Burnley still an exhibition of patience here, not punting it forward, just trying to find the right pass at the right time. Cork, back out towards Vitinho, who's beaten his man, gets to the byline, right-footed ball comes in. Brownhill off the bar and away by Bayo inside his own penalty area. Would have been a stunning equalising goal from Josh Brownhill, who got the winner here last season and very nearly got an equaliser this. Taylor to the edge of the penalty area. Roberts takes a touch. Roberts not fouled. Play goes on. Matson to Brownhill again. Brownhill for Nathan Teller. Teller checking, getting it back inside. Flicked on Rodriguez, trying to turn it on. Over the heels of Roberts. It breaks inside the area. Backman can make the save. I think there was a handball in there anyway, and it's a free kick which Watford will take. For the one time that Burnley were able to beat Backman, the crossbar came to Watford's rescue. Yeah, and it would have been a fantastic equaliser. Brilliant for Vitinho, who's looked so sharp since he's come on. Terrific burst of pace, gets past Semo, and it's an outstanding delivery. Brownhill coming onto it on the volley. Looks like it's just going to drift under the bar. It just crashes off it, and the referee just... He'll play back here. Yeah, it was slightly behind him and he kind of had to scoop it over his left shoulder, and he got the loop on it to get it over Backman, but it just came down off the bar. Now, there are times you don't need to just be a good manager. You need to have that little bit of luck on your side on occasions over the course of a season. That goes without saying. And that was a moment that probably is worth 2 points as far as Watford are concerned. Well, certainly the subs have had a really good introduction. You know, Vitinho has been electric, so quick. Burnley bring it forward again. They've got a man over. Taylor and Matson both go for the same ball. Right foot, and it's McNally straight at the goalkeeper. Well, they've had their chances late in the game, and they brought McNally on for exactly that kind of opportunity. He opened up his right foot, swept it along the ground from 15 yards, but Backman made a comfortable stop. Yeah, it's not too dissimilar to Tom Cleverley's sort of chance, but this time it's from the opposite side. Ball coming across your body. He had to really here open out his right foot. How many times would he have been in that situation in centre half? Not many. In the end, straight to the keeper. One last chance, maybe. Brownhill's got it. The 5 minutes are up now. Can Burnley get the ball forward one more time? Roberts, in doing so, drives it forward. It hits Asprilla. Comes back to him. Played out towards the Burnley left, and that'll be that as it goes in behind Matson. It's going to be a Watford throw. They might not have time to take it as referee Bramall looks at his watch again. Bayo's going to leave it for Mario Gaspar. And Mario Gaspar can leave it because Watford have won. And you just think back to the back end of last season, the atmosphere here at Vicarage Road as they witness home defeat after home defeat. A change at the helm, a change of division, but a change of fortune after that change of personnel here at Vicarage Road for Watford. A couple of 1-0 home wins to start their campaign against the division's big hitters. Yes, they rode their luck on occasion late today, with the crossbar coming to their rescue to deny Josh Brownhill. But 7 points out of 9 and top of the table after the start that Watford have had this season is a real solid foundation for what's to come. Burnley frustrated again, plenty of possession, not too many chances until Watford went down to 10 men. They know there's room for improvement as well. 4 points from their first 3 games is far from catastrophic as far as Vincent Kompany is concerned, but you just wonder come next May how important this individual result could prove to be, because tonight in the battle between the top 2 in the betting for championship promotion, Watford have beaten Burnley by a goal to nil.